So after Newfoundland, I arrived in Toronto and we actually flew over the city itself, and I saw the CN Tower and it really felt like coming home. And I was one night in Toronto, and then Pim picked me up with Nell, and they drove me around and we had some lunch at their daughter's restaurant where she works. And then we drove past the old houses, which I made a little video of, so here you go. Trip down memory lane. This is where I was born. It's weird to be back, but I recognize everything. It's very strange. This is the house that I grew up in Milton. I'm standing in front of it. That way is the school, and this is where I grew up. And it was really a trip down memory lane. I didn't really recognize the city itself, Milton, but the houses I did, and it was just unreal to be standing in front of them again. And then I arrived at Pim's house, which I remembered as well, and he looked up some photos and letters, and I got to know my dad in a whole different way. I saw photos when he was my age. Really handsome guy, so good for you, Mom. And I read his will that he wrote, and there was some things in it that not really surprised me, but which I kind of want to figure out. So I called up the lawyer's office and I asked them if they have the latest will that he wrote, because I know that there's a second one after I moved to Canada, after I moved to Holland, and so I'm looking forward to seeing that, if they can find it. It's not quite sure. He's gonna call me in the next couple of days. And I just spent some days with Hanukkah, another good friend of my mom and dad's, and I saw their daughter, which I played with when I was little, and she immediately said that I was such a mixture of my mom and dad both, and that she could recognize definitely some features of my dad. And it's so weird to hear that, because back home in Holland, nobody really ever tells me that I look like my dad, and here they do, and they see my dad in me, and they've been telling me stories about my dad, and so it's really nice to be able to do that in this age. And it's still all processing, and I'm still looking at the photos a lot, but yeah, this is the purpose of the trip. It was, and it's turned out good so far. I'm going to the farm tomorrow in Brantford. I'm looking forward to working outside again and being in the sun, because as you can see, I'm wearing a tank top and it's nice. It's like 25, 27 degrees. We had some rainy days, but blue skies now. So yeah, up to the next chapter.